Hello. I'm just gonna get some folks muted for we can begin because we have another great session today. This is our third, but maybe not the last, but the last of this current series of color grading sessions. Today I'm so excited because it's April. I know we've been talking about it, like doing things for like forever. So I'm so glad that we actually got space to do something now. For those that do not know, April's based in the UK. She's amazing. April, I know you can introduce yourself as well. Hi, Tati. I know some familiar names in here. And so for those who know the drill, you can drop in your location and whatnot in the chat. April, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Awesome. Hi, guys. My name is April Alexander. I am a portrait and fashion photographer from London. I'm also a model. So I've been modeling for about 15 years. And I've been doing photography for the past 6 years, but professionally the past 2 years. So yeah, today I am going to be teaching you about Capture One and how I basically color grade my images. If you have any questions, please put them down in the chat box. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, so I'm very nervous. So
you are amazing.
Like this.
Stop it. So listen, your first time, you're blessing us. I'm so excited.
Literally, we're just going to try and work this out. I have a list of different things that I want to kind of touch upon, but if you have anything specifically that you would like me to touch upon, and if I know it, then I definitely will try and help you guys out. Yeah.
Yes, and as Tiana says, our friends from the UK, no need for nerves. You are beyond incredible. Okay, so exactly. And for those who do not know, we also have a partnership with Capture One. And part of that partnership is they gifted us some licenses, quite a few, I should say. They are very incredible, the folks over there. And so if you do not have a license and would like one, just reach out to me after this class so you can actually utilize the tools. We did 2 trainings on Capture One already. So if you're not familiar with Capture One, you can learn about Capture One and all it has to offer. And so that's also on the YouTube channel, but I'll drop the link in the chat and you can reach out after you watch the training for a license. First come, first serve. So without further ado, April, I'm gonna make sure I give you permissions to share your screen because I always forget to do that real quick. Sorry.
I've been exiting all of the rubbish memes that I've been looking at, so it's all clear, it's all ready. But yeah, please. So yes, let's get on. I will introduce, basically I'll talk a little bit about me and where I started off first, just so that you guys get to know who I am and how long I've been doing all of this for. So as I mentioned before, I started off modeling, but way before modeling at school, I did a bit of graphic design. And once I was like teaching myself and like taking graphic design classes, I was just fascinated with Photoshop. So I was at that time, I think, you know, when retouching was a bit crazy and you'd be adding on these crazy like makeup and eyelashes, and I'll be like looking at fashion magazines and I'll be like, how do they make people look like that? So I started off there. I started off with graphic design at 15, 16, and I just was playing around with Photoshop and changing colors and things like that. And I didn't know that this was something that could potentially go into a career. I just knew that I loved, you know, the fashion industry and modeling and things like that. I was, you know, I used to watch America's Next Top Model. I'm sure all of us did. We didn't know it was toxic back then, but we look back and we're like, oh. But I just used to love it, and I just wanted to know how they did it. So that's where I started off, about 16, like learning how to retouch. If I looked back at my stuff then, everything probably would be blurry, but we all have to start somewhere. And then after that, that's when I got into modeling. So I was in front of the camera, and again, I'll be on multiple different sets and watching the photographers and watching the retouchers do things, and I'll be asking them questions and, you know, how do you make that look like that? How do you make it look like that? And obviously they'll be looking at me like, oh, this silly naive little model, like she doesn't know anything. So they'll be telling me all these little stories and tricks and tips and things like that, and I'll be taking on, again, not knowing that that's something that I would potentially want to do in the future. And the more and more I grew kind of like kind of interested and just intrigued with it, little did I know, I was storing all of this information in the back of my head until basically it got to, I think it's about 2015. I was in Cape Town. I was there modeling, and I made a bunch of really lovely friends who were also models as well, and they were just complaining about the fact that, you know, can't find anybody to shoot with, I can't find anybody to test with, like it's so annoying. And I was just like, do you know what, you know, I have this camera that I just bought and I just have been messing around with it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It was like my Nikon, I think it was D3310. So it wasn't a professional camera or anything like that. Never done photography, but obviously I'd always been in front. So I'd always been looking at like what looks good visually. But I just didn't know what I was doing with my hands, fingers, anything like that. And I said, worst case scenario, I can retouch the hell out of you. And that's where it kind of began. So from there, that's where once I had my first shoots in Cape Town, then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm actually not too bad at like photography and stuff. And then I started like messing around with like lights and things like that. And I started off with Photoshop, and it's only, I would say, only started using Capture One probably, I want to say like 2000, and so that was 2015. I started photography as a hobby. Then I started using Capture One maybe, I want to say maybe 2017. And when I started using Capture One, honestly, it changed my photography life. The only reason why I say that is Capture One as a program, it just enables you to be so much more creative and flexible with coloring your images. And even though I loved my images when I was just, you know, color grading on Photoshop, it's still great, it's still amazing. Capture One, I feel like it just takes your photography to another level, and I could just see how vibrant and rich my colors were looking, because I could, especially shooting in RAW, which is another thing I'll touch upon, it enables you to really kind of dissect the colors. So for example, with our skin, with black skin, yeah, we're brown, but like it's the different tones. Obviously you guys all know about this, it's the different tones, and you can some people have like cooler tones and warmer tones and bluer and purple and, you know, green, and being able to change those colors and really make them vibrant, that's what really enabled my photography just go to the next level. I'm really happy that I spoke to Polly recently, and she was able to send me one of the newer Capture One. So I've been using this for about 2 months now, the newer version. So I'm still very new with this version of Capture One. It's the latest one, but again, it's been amazing. So I'm going to share my screen. I don't know if any of you have seen oh sorry, Cara, probably obvious, but why do you use Capture One instead of another software like Photoshop or Lightroom? So Lightroom, honestly, I have Lightroom, but this is going to sound really bad, but I don't like the look of it. I know that, yeah, I just don't like the look of it. I just don't. I've used it in terms of, the only way that I've used Lightroom is before, when I was doing my contact sheets. I found it really easy doing contact sheets on Lightroom, but I just don't like how it looks. I don't like just how it colors. I know people have their own preferences, and mine is just very like, but I just don't like it. Photoshop, I still do use Photoshop color grading. So this is what I'm also going to touch upon. So I start in Capture One to do the color grade, and then when I'm retouching, I then bring it into Photoshop to start doing the skin retouching, and then I will probably tweak the colors even more. If any of you caught Jessie's workshop, she actually gave me a few things to think about, because she was saying that she retouches the skin first, then brings it into you know, Capture One or Lightroom or whatnot to do the color grade, because obviously clients, sometimes they might not like it. And I was just like, oh, maybe I should start doing that. But the reason why I like to grade beforehand is because it gives me more inspiration for how I want to skin retouch afterwards. So when I'm skin retouching, I don't know if I'm going to really highlight underneath the eye, or I don't know if I'm going to make the eyebrows really dark, or I'm going to change the makeup in any which way. But with the color grading, I am messing around with the colors, and I'm instantly finding inspiration of like, okay, this is where I want to take the photo. And yeah, that's why I start that way. But I'm just going to see if there's any other questions before I start sharing my screen. Is there any other questions in terms of what you want to see or what you want me to talk about before I share my screen? And I also don't know if any of you saw my my little promo of the image before and after, so the raw image with the color grade that I did of the beautiful Afro model, but I'm going to start talking about that. So if there aren't any questions, I will start sharing my screen now.
Thank you so much. I'm going to drop that you're mentioning in the chat as well. And I dropped the links to the trainings from Capture One. If you watch those trainings and you feel compelled to try it out and actually utilize the software, excuse me, then just send me an email and I will get you a license. April, take it away.
Cool, thank you. So this is an image that I took of a beautiful model. Her name's Tracy. And basically, I saw this image. I'll show you guys what the raw image looked like. So this was the image. And I mean, she's stunning. I think the angle that I took of her, it wasn't the best. And, you know, I was just looking at it and I was like, I love the makeup. Love the pose, love her face, but it just wasn't giving me what it should be giving. So I thought, okay, what could I do with the image? Because I don't want it to just kind of be like, oh, let me just get rid of it. And this is another thing that I want to talk about, is about cropping and rotating images and making them a little bit more interesting than what they currently are. Because let's face it, if you were to put this on Instagram or to put it on your website, it wouldn't be the most appealing image at all. So I kind of like was zooming in and I was like having a look at it and I was just like, what could I do with this image? And then I kind of decided to when I go to this image, I decided to crop in like this, and I thought it was stunning. Her lips look amazing, her eyes, the makeup, I was just like, thank God I'm in focus, everything's in focus. Her hair looks so thick and luscious and gorgeous. And I loved the warm tones of it, but I felt that it just looked a little bit too cute, and I didn't want to go for a cute look for this image because the makeup itself is already kind of poppy and cute and like very girly colors. So I cooled it down a bit. And with my photography, my photography style, I don't know if you guys have seen it, I'll show you my Instagram afterwards if you haven't. I like cool colors, especially when it comes to black skins, dark skins, brown skin tones. I love cool, I love rich, and I love to kind of pop it out. So I did like the shadows, more blue, and then I made the skin a bit warmer, and basically just so that you can see the before and after, this is what I made it into, and a bit more glowy. And then basically I will go into how you can do that, but just to show you how it ended up after I'd retouched, it ended up like this. So you can basically, even when you're looking at how it looked like with the color grade, you can see that I've kind of smoothed out the skin a bit. There isn't even really much to do. She had amazing skin as it was. I smoothed out the skin, made her eyes a bit poppy, made the makeup a bit more poppy. And that's what I'm saying with color grading. It's just the first step. When you move it into Photoshop, you can even enhance it even more. But with Capture One, it's just getting those colors to really pop and speak to you in a way. Even with this image itself, you could, in fact, do a color grade on it to make it warmer if that's what you want to do as well. With some of my other images, I did another image of her as well, just showing you what you can do. This is how I color graded it, and this was the raw image. So with color grading, again, it's just about bringing out the colors and making it look a bit more interesting. Again, I like the deep colors. I like using blues and yellows and getting the rich red tones out. And I think it made it look a bit more interesting. I'll show you another image that I have from this shoot. This was the raw image. I think, again, in photography, usually people say, you know, oh, when you're photographing someone, you should really always have the front eye in focus. And that really irritates me because I'm such a perfectionist. When I see a picture like this, I'm like, oh, it looks so stunning, but her front eye isn't in focus. It's a ruined image. And I would always kind of like beat myself up over this. But again, it's all subjective. Photography is always subjective. Whatever you want to do it. It doesn't matter about what other people think about rules and things like that. And I was thinking to myself, I absolutely love this image as it is, as a raw image. How can I make this look a bit more interesting? So I cropped in. I cropped in and made the focus the right eye. And I thought it just looked really beautiful how everything in the at the forefront was more out of focus, and then we're focusing on her beautiful eye. Then I put a color grade onto it to make it that cool color, and I thought it looked really beautiful, bringing out the makeup, making it a bit more stunning and poppy. And then after, this is how it looked when I retouched. So again, there wasn't really much in it. Her skin looks beautiful as it is, but it's just cleaning it up, making the eye makeup look a bit more poppy and really vibrant. And I'll do a little before after, just smoothing out the skin, making the lips pop, making the eyes pop, and that's it. So I'll get into the color grading afterwards. I think it was just really important to show how you can make an image come to life. This is one of my pictures that went mini viral on Instagram. And again, this image, he's an absolutely stunning guy. He's Teo. He is a model that I actually manage as well. He is signed to Supermodel Management over in London. And again, I loved this image. And with me, I'm not really a very technical photographer. I'm not really a technical editor, retoucher, but I'm a visual editor and retoucher. So when I saw this image, I could already imagine what it was going to look like. His skin looks amazing. His teeth look amazing. His eyes and the way that he's really staring at me. And I wanted it to be really warm and just chocolatey and gorgeous. And I wanted people to really think like he's reaching out to me. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, again, this is my style. There's no one right way, one wrong way at all. I wanted to warm it up. So this is the raw image. I also want to say that when I'm shooting, I tend to shoot underexposed, only because I feel that I'm able to capture as much detail as possible. That can obviously be a bit of an issue if you're working with clients, because clients tend to want to see your images look like how they're supposed to look once they're finished. So they'll be like, oh, the image is a bit dark and things like that. But that's just my personal preference, because I know once I bring it into Capture One, then you'll be able to punch it up a bit. But so this is the raw image, and then this is how I color graded. Again, I used a lot of yellows, a lot of warm reds and blues, even in the shadows, blues and kind of a bit of green as well in the shadows here. And some people will be like, that's a beautiful image, you can just stop there. I love to make skin look super glowy and healthy, so then I will drag it into Photoshop and then I will show you how it looked once I retouched. Again, not much was done. It's just a little bit of an overview and just making it all nice and shiny and healthy and glowy. I'm not the sort of retoucher that kind of messes with faces too much. I think the natural beauty is great, but I do also like a very clean and fresh and glowy look. Again, I'll do some before and after.
I just gotta say, wow is right, Tiana, because the first two photos, the previous model and then also the current one, I should have asked if he could come to this class. No, but this is so good. Sorry, I just had to say that. Carry on.
No, it's all good. Sorry, I don't use Zoom too often. So I'm going to come back to the chat. If anybody's asking me questions, I'm going to come back and try and find the chat and answer anything. But I hope you guys are enjoying. I will get to actually how I did it. I'm just trying to show you. Again, I actually wrote this down because I was watching Andre's, is that how you pronounce his name, Andre? His workshop. And he was saying he was setting, he said something about setting intentions. And I just loved the way that if you guys haven't watched his, please do watch it. Again, I don't use Lightroom, but I found it as a Capture One user, I still found it very helpful. And I just wanted to just say to everybody that's watching, that wants to try something new with their color grading, that that uniqueness is key. Like a lot of people have even said to me, like, your images are quite dark and they're quite moody and they're quite this and they're quite that. And I'm just like, yeah, that's my style. And if I choose to change it and make it bright, then I can. But this is something that sets you apart from everyone else. Just because somebody else is doing bright and clean and or doesn't mean that you do it either. And again, because I'm using certain colors in my images doesn't mean that you have to do it. It's about experimentation, and it's about using colors that may not even go together, but it looks interesting. I've been trying to learn, I think you guys may have heard of like the color wheel and like the colors that go together and they don't go together and things like that. And I've been trying to like learn it in a very technical way. And I literally, honestly, I cannot. I find it very difficult to learn that way. I like looking at things and thinking, how does it speak to me? Like this image here, this is the raw image. This model is absolutely stunning. I loved her lips, I loved her eyes, I loved everything about it, the softness of her curly hair, like her wavy hair. It just really spoke to me, and it looked to me like a painting. And that's what I wanted to create with this. I wanted it to look like somebody had painted her, and it to be like really gorgeous and kind of dreamy. So that's when I then brought it into Capture One and I did this with it. And again, talking about crops, I'll go back to here. The way that I've just cropped in, and the focus is then bam, right on her eyes, on her lips, you know, the soft focus just kind of like melting away. It just adds, for me, in my opinion, it adds that kind of like dreamy, like wow thing about it. Again, there's nothing wrong with the raw image. It's very warm, it's very like cozy and whatnot, but I like to add drama to my images. And again, this is an image that I recently put up on my Instagram. Again, she had like a different sort of model, but a similar sort of coloring vibe to this model here. And what I was initially going for this shoot was, I wanted something very bright and beautiful, but then I saw her face when she came to me and I just thought that she was absolutely incredible. And I wanted to draw on her bone structure and how I think that she's absolutely striking. But again, I got this very Renaissance vibe from her, this painting like kind of feeling. And again, I wanted to make it into, hang on, there we go, into this sort of vibe. So again, a similar vibe to the blonde model. And again, it's so dark and dreamy, but that's the sort of vibe that I wanted to go for this one. And I really, really love this. I'll see if I can find it on my Instagram. Where is so this is my Instagram. If you want to follow, guys, also please put your Instagrams in the chat so we can follow each other, support each other. That's what I want to do. I want us to all support each other. But this is how the image ended up retouched, and I made it a bit more dreamy, a bit more gloomy. Absolutely loved it. Here we go. You can see some of my
love, and such great advice, especially about the just one, everybody's style is their own, but two, cropping. I don't think enough photographers crop who are in this line of work, and so don't be afraid to crop, but that is the intention. And please do follow April. And again, I dropped some links in the chat. We actually did a Lightroom training session with Andre previously before his color grading class. So if you are wanting to explore Lightroom or learn how to utilize Lightroom better, more efficiently, you can also check that out. And like I said, we have the Capture One trainings on YouTube as well. And if you watch the trainings, reach out to me for a license, first come, first serve. And April, sorry, there's a
I'm
follow-up
trying to get
question.
back to the, okay, yeah, I was just like, how do I get to this chat? Okay, I found
There's
it.
a follow-up question. People are just dropping their links in the chat, but there's one follow-up question, I think, from Tiana about, were you using natural light in this photo?
This one here on the screen, this is actually a big white parabolic umbrella. So one thing for me, I started off as a natural light photographer, as I'm sure most of us did. And one thing for me is just learning how to shoot in studio and make it look like natural light. That's the biggest thing for me. So I'm currently learning how to do that and make it look as natural as possible. So yes, this is in studio, big parabolic umbrella. That if you want to achieve a natural look, get a white parabolic umbrella with diffusion. I got one, if you're from the UK, I got one from Westcott, and it was about £100. Like, I think I got it on sale actually for, and I think it was like 79. A bit of a trick and a tip for you: if you email the business email for Westcott, I think it's, yeah, Westcott, they can give you a discount, like a business discount, but you have to make sure that it's coming from your business email. But that's a little tip and trick for you. But yeah, so this is natural, I mean, this is studio lighting. This here is natural light. This here is natural light. Oh, I also wanted to show you this one as well, which I thought was quite interesting. This so this, I'll tell you how this was shot as well. This was a big white parabolic umbrella, and then behind her was actually another strobe with pink gel. So the actual background itself is a what's it called? It is a kind of a biscuity colored Savage backdrop, and then I put a gel on it and it made it this pinky color. My idea for this particular shoot was, I'll show you, it was my inspiration. It was like a Fenty Beauty shoot. It was this, and originally I wanted it to be like really bright and beautiful, but really have that kind of sharp edge and just kind of poppy and like a lot of attitude. That's what I wanted her to kind of like bring out for this shoot. So that was the kind of inspiration, and then I was trying to put my own spin on it. And through Capture One, this is what I was able to do. Again, not exactly the same as the Fenty Beauty, but I feel that it kind of encapsulated the kind of very commercial, beautiful, kind of soft pink look. And again, this was created with a gel on your strobe with a biscuit background. Like, it's the biscuit background, it's just kind of, yeah, it's just a standard biscuity colored background. I put a gel on the strobe behind her, the white parabolic to the left side to brighten her up, and then with a silver reflector underneath, and it did this. So just really, you don't even need that many backdrops. Buy some gels. If you are able to have a second strobe, get a second strobe or even a speed light, put a gel over it, and it can transform your photography. I'm just going through,
like, there are levels to this. I'm so glad I see Daniela here, because Daniela is one of the folks who, you know, took advantage of the Capture One trainings. And I was looking at your work, Daniela, just like, you know, lurking. I was scrolling back and I was just like, wow, like the before, like, I don't know if you've noticed your growth, Daniela. I'm just calling you out real quick, but the growth of your work, like from 40 weeks ago to today, utilizing just all the trainings and the Capture One software, just amazing. Okay, I'm done now, for real, y'all.
So now what I would, first of all, before I start getting into some color grading, is there any questions that you'd like me to answer before I get into any color grading?
Don't be shy. Drop in the chat or unmute yourself. Raise your hand and unmute yourself. And April is here, just, you know, sharing her knowledge. So do not be shy, y'all.
Okay, so I am going to come on to, which picture shall I do? Would you go, oh, actually, I'll ask you, Polly. So, Polly, when it comes to color grading, what do you find anything difficult? Do you find anything really easy? Like, what would you like to learn? If there's anything that you'd like to learn with color grading or anything like that?
Honestly, all of this is such new territory for me. I've never color graded up until like learning this stuff this year, honestly. And so many people have asked for these sessions, and so it's just like selfishly here, just also trying to learn. So I don't know. I see Tiana, Daniela, like anybody in the chat. If there's a photo in here that speaks to you, want to know the difference, how, and have April walk it through, just let it be known now. I do see one question from Daniela. How do you set a base for your images when you are color grading? And Elsie asks, can you walk us through the mini viral one?
The mini viral. Oh, okay. Okay, so what I'll do first, because I was going to start with this one, because this is a shoot that I did in Cape Town with a beautiful model called Tony. And so I'll do the mini viral one after this one, just so that you guys can get a sense of how I color grade. Can you see the chat in my screen share, or should I move it?
No, you're totally good.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna just someone said Brianna. I guess the question I have is scaling images, cropping is better. I often scale if I want the size to stay the same, but I loved your cropped images. Okay, got you. So with cropping images, I just see what looks interesting. Like, so for example, this image, I think she looks stunning. This is the raw image. I haven't done anything to it. And what I tend to do is when I'm looking at an image that I think is beautiful, I tend to think, okay, so again, I told you I'm quite a visual learner. So how do I want this image to speak to me? This is also a model portfolio. So I tend to try not to go too creative with it. When it's a model portfolio, there's a difference between your own personal project where you can like mess with the skin colors a little bit, and then when it's a model portfolio, you have to try and keep it as similar to the model skin tone as possible. Of course, you can desaturate and saturate and do all those sorts of things, but not make them, for example, she's a lighter skinned person, not make her super dark skinned or anything like that, because if you're putting that into her book, then she probably won't be able to use it, because then clients will look at her when she goes to a casting and be like, what's happened? This is not what she looks like. So when I'm starting off with my images, I kind of think, how do I want it to look? So with this one, it's quite bright. Her skin tone is quite yellowy. So I would always start with like white balance. So it's about whether do I want it to be a bit cooler, which I think actually that looks quite nice, or do I want it to be warmer and a bit more richer? I think for this image, I'm going to go a little bit cooler. And can you see in her skin tone as well, you can see some like pinks kind of coming through, like on her cheeks, on her lips, around her face, things like that. Then what I will do is maybe work on the brightness. So do I want the brightness? Again, with color grading, it's all about trial and error. It's all about messing around and seeing what looks good for that particular image. Afterwards, I'll also talk about presets, because I also have quite a few presets that I've made on Capture One, and it's very easy to make. So then I'll kind of work with a little bit of the brightness as well, like that. And then the high dynamic range, seeing what it's actually working on. So as you can see, it's actually messing with the background here. So it's making the background look a bit brighter. And then I can also work with the shadow. So you're kind of looking at like what part of the image is it working on. So here, when you're working on the shadows, you can actually see a bit more definition in the hair, but I don't want it to be too bright like this, because I think it just looks a bit odd. So then I just bring up the shadows just a little bit so that you can just see the texture in the hair a little bit. And then with the whites, again, just seeing what that looks like. When you bring the whites all the way down, it looks a bit bluey. So then I like to bring it up a little bit. And then with the blacks here, this is focusing on her hair. So you want a bit of texture. So you come up just a little bit like that. And can you see already? I'll do the before and after. So that's what it was like before. Her skin was a bit more yellowy. And can you see it's a bit more brighter and clearer? Even you can see in the top as well. The top was a bit more like cream, and now it's a bit more like brighter and a little bit more like sheeny, which I quite like. So then what I will then go to is these three little circles here. And that's where I have the color editor and color balance. These are the ones I usually use. A lot of people use curves, and let me go to this one. So levels and curves and things. And I tend to not use them too much, but yeah, I tend to not use them too much, only if I feel like it's very, very important. So again, for this, what I'll tend to do is I'll go to the skin tone tab here on the color editor. Then I'll use the color picker here. Then I will tap on the skin, and as you can see, it's brought up the skin color of her here. And then again, I will go up and down with this. And can you see it's kind of moving it a little bit. Let me see which part. Oh yeah, here we go. So her skin is going a bit more red here, and a bit more like, it looks a bit sickly. So I don't want it to look like that. I want it to be a bit more rich and to bring out the pinks in her skin tone. And again, every skin tone has different undertones. We all know this. And it's about bringing out what makes them individually look more, if that's what you're going for the image, more vibrant, more alive, more beautiful, more sensual, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve with that image. Keep those words in mind. Keep that mood board that's in your head or on your Pinterest in mind when creating the image, because that is how you're going to be able to create an image that actually is working for you. So then I think she looks quite good with slightly warmer. And then what I'll do again, I'm using the saturation tab here as well. See how her skin looks, just no, that does not look good. So I'm bringing it up a little bit, not too much, because I don't want her skin to be orange like this. So again, it's all about trial and error. So I like bringing it to about here. And then you can work on the lightness of the skin. Can you see that's bringing in a lot of shadow here? It's taking out a lot of shadow. I like a little bit of shadow. So I'm just doing that. And again, I will go on before and after, just so that you can see what it looks like. So that was the before. I think it looks quite flat. And then the after. Can you see how it's like separating her from the background? She looks more fresh, more even youthful, more angelic. And yeah, I'm really liking the way that this is looking so far. Can you see how muddy and just flat that looks? It's just, yeah, I'm loving this so far. So then I'll then go to the basic tab. This enables you to, again, have a little bit more control over the colors within the image. This image is actually quite an easy image because all of the colors are in her skin and in her lips and things like that. The rest of it is just pretty much white. So I would then go to yellow. And again, I would work on the hue and saturation just so that you can see what it's working on. And again, this isn't doing the entire part of her skin. Can you see I've moved it all the way to the green, and it's affected, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. It's affected the middle section of her face. Can you see that? So here it's warmer, here it's, and that's what I was talking about before. Skin tones have all different tones, different areas to the face. So this is where with Capture One, you can really get into making the skin tones look really vibrant and gorgeous just by using all of these different tabs over here to the left. So I don't want her skin for this one to be green. I want it to be a bit more warmer. And again, I want to go for this angelic, youthful vibe for this image. Again, with the saturation, I'm going to bring it up a little bit. And for some people, this might be like, oh, this is too long. But this is what makes your image pop. This is what makes people be like, wow, like there's just something about that image. Of course, you could have just left it how it was before. Of course, you could have done that. But we're talking about making images that are a bit more showstoppery. And that's what I have in mind when I'm doing my images. I want them to kind of, I want people to be like, wow, that it's such a simple image, but it just captures something within me that speaks to me. And again, I'm using the lightness. So I'm accessing the yellows in her skin, making that a little bit darker. And then we go on to the oranges. Obviously, as we can see, she has a lot of orange in her skin. Now, again, trial and error again, I am gonna just see where this is doing a lot. So obviously we don't want to make her red, and we also don't want to make her green for this particular image. So I'm just kind of playing around. I'm not even moving it too much. And then I'm going, might even, yeah, desaturate slightly. I might even go back up a little bit. Don't want her to be too dark, but I still want it to look like she has a healthy tan. There we go. And then reds. Again, you don't have to use all of these toggles because I feel like red might be a little bit too much, but let's just see where. So the red is targeting her lips and targeting a bit of her cheeks. With this, I would probably leave this and then do another layer if I wanted to work on her lips. So what I would usually do in the layers section here, I'd click on this new layer, new adjustment layer, and then let me just make this a little bit smaller. Oops. New adjustment layer, and then I would go on the brush tool to make a mask. So then I would click B, or I would click draw mask, and then I would make my brush size really small. So this is, I'm gonna put lips here, lips, and then I'll put cheeks, potentially. Actually, I'll keep it as lips for now. So I'll make my brush maybe this size, and then I will draw on the mask. You can press M for mask so that you can actually see where you're painting. And also on this bit here, you can also work on the flow, make it hard, make it soft, make it really opaque or really strong. And then I'm just drawing on her lips. Again, this is something that you can do in Photoshop, but if you have an image where you wanted to edit primarily just in Capture One, then this is something that you can do here. So just doing this quite quickly. Little mask here. So just doing it quite rough here. And then you click M so that you can't see the mask anymore. And we are on the reds. So with this, I'm try and see if I can you see how it's making the lips go lighter and darker? You can mess around with things like this. Obviously, you'll do it much more neatly than what I'm doing. So you can make the lips even more nude and add the saturation, make them a little bit more punchy, or you can make them, and I quite like that. So much. That's a shame. Like this. There you go. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over to the pinks as well, because I can see there's a bit of pink in her skin tone as well as the lip. But this is just targeting the lips. So if I'm going on to the pinks, it's literally just targeting the lips because I'm on the lips adjustment layer. So then I'm working on the hue and then seeing if it's doing anything for the lips. Just a little bit. It's not really doing too much actually on the lips. I think it's just the reds that's actually doing something for the lips. Actually made it a little bit purplier. Yeah. I'm going to zoom out so we can just see the full here. I'm actually going to bring this up a little bit. And I'll do the before and after. See, now it's one of these things, like when I initially saw this image, I thought, oh, this is an amazing image. I love it. And then you start working with the colors and you can see just how, wow, actually the image beforehand wasn't as clarified and as clear and as angelic and as beautiful. Well, I mean, it's still a beautiful image, but I mean, just the colors. Can you see how the skin tone has gone from like this yellow muddy color, and she actually looks really vibrant and alive now. Next, what I would do is I would go to color balance, and I would use the color wheel. So
so good. Sorry, this is just so good. And Elsie asked a follow-up question. Do you use a mouse or pen, tablet to edit?
Oh, that's okay. So I have been using a mouse for the longest time, up until about, I would say 2000, no, up until 2020, actually. I got my first Wacom tablet. I don't know if I can, I don't know how to switch back to me showing what I have, but I will drop a link, or I will share on my Instagram stories or Twitter what I'm using. But I'm actually using a Wacom tablet, and funny enough, I have a lot of photographer friends who've been doing it for the longest time, and they were like, how are you still using a mouse? And I'm like, I'm fine. I don't mind using a mouse. I can get my images done. Look how great they are, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, the images are great, but having a Wacom tablet, having a pen just makes your process so much easier. And I didn't believe them. I genuinely didn't believe them until I got it. And it has changed my editing technique so much. You can be so precise and so delicate. Again, it's all about the pen pressure that you use. For some of my images, for example, I draw on like brow hairs. With a mouse, you wouldn't be able to be as concise as that. You wouldn't be able to be as succinct as that. You just wouldn't. So I would definitely recommend getting a Wacom tablet. My one, I don't think I bought mine mine is like a little mini one. It is the Wacom Intuos. It's like a little mint green one. I think I picked it up. I don't think it was anything more than £200, if I'm honest. It might even be much cheaper than that. I'm not too sure. I did not spend a lot because I didn't know if I was going to like it. I would definitely recommend 1,000,000%. I don't know if there's, I'm going to try and get the chat up. Sorry if there's any spending. Okay, this is Kayla. Spending the time to edit is so important. I'm slowly learning that I'm making myself be more intentional with my edits. 1,000,000%. With me, I do spend a lot of time editing, I'm not gonna lie, and sometimes, you know, it can't be good because obviously you want to make sure, especially if you're retouching for your own personal project, take as much time as you want. But when it's a client work, you have to kind of set timers, and I've started doing that. When I do my actors headshots, for example, I say no more than 25 to 30 minutes because it eats into your profit margin, and the longer that you take, the less money that you're making. So that's one thing that I will say, and that's where presets come in handy. So I'll show you about presets after I've finished this image and after I've walked you through my viral image as well. I've got a new image. Thank you for sharing on the tablet. If I start using Wacom one as it's a cheaper version, definitely start using whatever works for you. 1,000,000%. Just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean that you should be doing it. You just do what works for you in your own time as well. Because especially at the time when people were telling me to get a Wacom tablet, I couldn't afford to get one. So once I was able to put some money aside and purchase one, it was kind of a little bit of an achievement for me as well, because I was like, oh, look at me earning a bit of money with my photography and able to reinvest in myself. And me being able to reinvest in myself has enabled me to get even more work, because I feel that my photography has improved and more clients have come my way because it has improved, and because I look more professional because of the standard of my work, if that makes sense. I'm just going through okay, wow, such a subtle, yeah, undertones. Girls, you get it. It's those subtle changes that just make an image pop. As I've been chatting like ages, just, can you see that? And again, I haven't edited this picture before. This is the first time I'm editing, and I can already see the difference. It just looks amazing. So some people would and can stay here and pull this over into Photoshop and start editing, and it will look amazing, beautiful, incredible, whatever. But you can also use color balance. So this is something that I also use. You've got the master color balance here, which will change. Oh, I need to go over to the background. Let me just make sure that oh, and that's another thing, sorry. So what I just did there, I was on the lips adjustment layer, and I was moving this around, and I realized, why isn't it changing? It's because I'm on this layer. So you always have to make sure that you are on the right layer to create the entire image. If you make a mistake, you use this little arrow right here, and it resets it back to normal. So I'm going to go back on the background layer. Hopefully this works now. Yes, it does. See this? Ah. So it's changing how the overall image of the picture looks, which I think is quite amazing. So what I usually do, I just take this all the way around, and I see what, like, that looks nice. I'm not gonna lie, girls. I like it looking a bit warmer. I also like it looking a bit green as well. Maybe not that intense, but I like it looking a bit greener. And also this, no. Do you know what, actually? I'm gonna, let's edit this together. Put in the chat what you think this looks nice, what you think the overall master image looks like, looks better as. I'm gonna go all the way around. I'm going more towards the yellows, and yeah, the yellows and oranges. Okay, Toby is saying, I like subtle green. Yes, yellows, Naima, yellows. Anybody else? What do you think? We'll keep orange, yellow. Anybody else? Daniela? Yep. Polly, what do you think? Tiana?
Definitely here for
Yellows.
yeah.
I like reds. Oh, Xavier, okay. Reds, let's have a look at reds. Okay. What did you say, Polly? Sorry?
No, it's definitely a thing here for the yellowish.
Right, okay. Jade. Hey, Jade. Subtle blue. Let's see. So this is the subtle blue that Jade was talking about. Tiana's saying red. Can you see what I'm saying? There's so many. Look, this is the reds. There is so many different ways that you can go with this image, and it brings, like, I also love that. It also makes her skin go a bit darker as well. It depends, again, it depends on what you're going for. So I'm going to go for something. Let's go for something. What hasn't people said? People haven't said purple. So do you know what? Oh, this looks quite nice. All right. I'm going to go with the overall look of a very light blue. Yes. So I think this looks quite fresh. Again, you don't have to keep it like this. I might change my mind in 2 minutes, and that's fine. You can just reset it. It's okay. So I've gone for a master of this really light blue. It's kind of, I don't want to say turquoise, but it's like a baby blue. Is it baby blue? I don't know, but it's a blue. It's a shade of blue. So now we're going to go to the shadows. Again, it's all about dissecting an image. This is what I love about Capture One. It's not like you just smack one color over and it's done. You dissect it. What do I want as a shadow? What do I want as a midtone? What do I want as a highlight? They can be completely different colors. So this is a light blue as a master over the whole image. I can't pronounce your name. Mignonette. Is that how do you pronounce it? You've got a lovely name. Yellow for a sun-kissed look, blue for an early morning look. There we go. Exactly. So this looks very fresh. This looks like the sun is coming up. She looks very like angelic and beautiful. That's what I want to go for this image, a very angelic look. But that doesn't mean that we can't also make it a bit more punchy. So for the shadows now, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Oh, that looks good. Exactly the same thing. I'm going to go all the way around. I love this. Guys, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop here. What do you guys think about this? That, for me, I love it. I think I'm going to stop here because this has, yes, exactly, in love with the hair. The way that it has just transformed, my breath has been taken away. And this is what it's supposed to make you feel when you're doing color grading. You're supposed to be like, and that's what it's supposed to make you feel. So I've decided to go with this blue. So again, overall blue. all over, very subtle light blue, and then a slightly darker blue for shadows. If you look on the left-hand side here, you can see that the toggle is right here. That is that light because it's closer to the middle of the circle. So the closer you go outwards, the more intense it is. The closer you are to the center, the lighter it is. Yes, love the shadow in the hair. Yes, it highlights the hair and changes the feel of the photo 1,000,000%. What you can do if you don't want to eyeball it and do what I did like this, you can also use this here. So can you see how there's no blue? It's all the way up here, loads of blue. So we're going to go all the way back down to where it was about, I think it was like about here. I think that looks stunning, really, really stunning. I might even take it down a little bit. So those are the shadows. Actually, let me punch it up a little bit more. There we go. I think that's really, really stunning. Then we're going to go for the midtones. Again, midtones, they don't have to be the normal midtones. They don't have to be yellows. They don't have to be oranges. They don't have to be reds, even though, again, this is a woman of color. This is a lighter skinned woman of color, but your midtones can still be other colors. It can be pinks. It can be like that. It can be blues. It can be greens. It can be yellows. It can be whatever you want. It just depends on what you're going for this image. So what I'm going to try and do, I think I'm going to go for, that's quite nice. I think I'm going to go for a bit of a pink. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a bit of a pink. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to lower it again, even though this is obviously all the way up. This is all the way down, nothing's here. Even adding just a little kiss in the midtones, it makes her look a bit cuter and a bit more angelic. I'm glad you guys can't see my face whilst I'm doing this. I am so glad. When I am concentrating, my mouth is open, my eyes are like, oh, it's the worst. But yeah, so just going up very delicately like this, and it's just adding a little bit of a pink. And the pinks, they then also link in with her makeup, the pinks in her lips, the pinks in her cheeks. She's also got a pinky undertone in her skin tone. Daniela, I've never thought of adding blues in my color grading, but this is gorgeous, especially in people of color, 1,000,000%. Do you reference technical color theory when adjusting your color or choosing overall? Hi, Ari. So yeah, before, I'm not sure you were here before, I mentioned that I've tried using the color wheel. I've tried color theory and being quite technical. As a person, I'm just not a technical person. I am 1,000,000% a visual person, and I feel like for my photography, that is what's made my photography unique. I could quite easily go by what this professional said or that professional said and go by the book, but I think by eyeballing it sometimes it allows you to be more creative and just experiment. There are no rules. If somebody says that color and that color doesn't go together, it doesn't mean that you can't try it and just work on the opacity and make it work for you if that's the color that you want to go for. Like I've just put pink with a bit of blue, with a bit of darker blue, and then I'm making it lighter and darker to suit my feel. Again, I'm using this on the side actually to make it brighter. Can you see it's brightening the skin or it's darkening the skin? Do whatever works for you. That's what I will say. Again, even what I'm doing here, there might be somebody that's watching that. I was just like, what is she doing? She ruined the image. But I like it. It's about what you like. I might even, let me see something. I think that this pink might be a little bit too much. So I think I'm going to go for a pinky mid-tone. One thing that will be good to do as well when you're editing is go back to the before. Guys. See, when you see stuff like this, doesn't it make you think that, oh, am I really a photographer? Like, why did my image look like this in the beginning? But can you believe that when I first saw this image, I was like, I love this image. This is amazing. And this is what color grading can do. Like, guys, this is also why this is the perfect time for me to talk about shooting in RAW. Shooting in RAW is so important. If you shot in JPEGs, you wouldn't be able to do this. 1,000,000% you wouldn't be able to do this. RAW enables you to break apart. This is the simplest way that I can talk about it. without being all technical and jargon, it allows you to break away the image, snatch it away. Like, you cannot do that if you're shooting JPEG at all. Like, look how dusty this is. Like, and look how fresh this is, guys. Come on. Now we are going for highlights. Yes, Jade. Jade is always talking about shooting in RAW. Jade and Tiana, yes, both of those ladies, you definitely need to check out their work. They are incredible. They're also from the UK. So now we're going to be talking about highlights. Again, normally highlights, people would maybe go to like a yellow, or again maybe a blue to make it again a bit more fresher. What do you think that we should, I'm allowing you guys to choose. Okay, so we've got the yellows here. Remember, we're going for an angelic look. Angelic. That is the vibe. Jada said purple. Tiana said soft pink. What do you guys think? I'm going round the color wheel. Anybody? Anybody else? I like the purple too. Okay. Let's try. Guys, you ever thought of greens? How do you feel about greens? Soft pink. So let's try the soft pink as a highlight. It's a bit too warm for me. Or like a yellow. Let's have a look at what the yellow looks like. Yeah, this yellow looks really, this yellow looks quite nice. So we go all the way up, all the way down. Let's try on this side because it's a little bit easier. Okay. And maybe move it over to the green a little bit. There we go. And I think, let me just try this. Yeah, I think we're warming it up a bit. I think let's keep it over here near the, so it's like a, yeah, move this up a little bit more, like a greeny yellow, I think. Yeah, look a bit punchy. And there we go. This is, I think I'm going to stop here. Can you see that? I think that looks really, really stunning. Then what we can do is, what I would then tend to do is go back to this area here with clarity. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see. I don't like to, oh, a little bit too much. I don't like to use clarity too much in my images, but I think it, just having a little bit, it just adds a bit more. I missed the beginning. Was this shot with one light or natural light from the window? So this was shot with natural light. So this massive natural light, big window. This was quite an easy shot. I love shooting with natural light. It just makes everything look angelic and stunning. So I am going to move on to doing a bit of clarity to the image now. Clarity, I feel, just makes it look a little bit sharper. I don't tend to do too much, like that is just, it's ruined the image, guys. It's ruined the image. We don't want to go all the way up here. With clarity, I think it's always nice to just have a kiss of it. Again, with structure, maybe a kiss of it, not too much. But can you see how we have abled Tumblr vibes? Exactly. TBT, Throwback Thursday, even though it's, no, FBF, Flashback Friday. We are going all the way back to Tumblr days. It's just really, I think that's stunning. I think that's absolutely beautiful. I think that she'll like that. So now let's talk about crops. Oh, do we want to even make this a bit brighter maybe? What do you guys think? Do you think that it needs to be brighter, or do you think it's fine as it is before I do my big change? What do you guys think?
Go back to brighter again.
Okay, let's try it. Slight in the shadows. Okay, so I'm going to do an overall brightness, then I'm going to brighten up in the shadows. So overall brightness. Okay, I'm just doing it very slowly so you guys can see what it looks like. Obviously that's too much.
Yeah, because I missed the color in her hair.
You see that? So all bright like this. It's just a bit too much. So I'm going to go back down. And then if we want to do the shadows just in her hair and around her face, if you want to just do it in her hair, actually, it's easy to just do, again, a, what's it called? Another adjustment layer. So for example, if we like the shadows in her face, because everybody's talking about her hair, so interesting, you crop last. I usually crop first. The only reason why I crop last is because I want the flexibility of going back. So once I've cropped and then I've exported, then it's done. So I always import this image as I've shot it into Photoshop, and then I crop it in Photoshop. I might crop in here just to see what it might look like, and I'm like, yeah, that's how I'm going to crop it afterwards. But I always want the flexibility just in case I want to, for example, on the side of our hair here, I've cropped off a bit of the side of her hair. So I might want to then bring in another picture and then add another side of her hair. So if I've already cropped that out or cropped in more tightly, then it will just be a bit more difficult to bring other attributes back into the image. So I always kind of try and crop last. So as we are all talking about shadows in her hair, what I'm going to then do is I am going to go back to these 3 little circles up here, press this little plus button, and then do, oops, sorry, hair adjustment. So I'm going to put hair. I'm going to then go back to the brush tool, make it a bit bigger, because why not? Make the flow a little bit lower. And then I'm going to press M for mask. And then I'm just going to very, very lightly, again, if you're using the Wacom tablet for pen pressure, it's going to pick up all of that pressure. So I try and do it in one fell swoop. Again, you can do this way better than me. I'm just trying to do this very, 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 very fast for the sake of the workshop. And then press M again, the mask has disappeared. Then what we can do is go back to here and then lift the shadows. Can you see it's all 0 again? Because we're on a new adjustment layer that is just for the hair. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to slowly punch. So actually, I'm going to go all the way so you guys can see what it's doing. So I'm going to go all the way down. So you can go really dark as well if that's what you want to do, but just punch up a little bit and you can just see the texture. You can even put a bit of clarity in the hair actually, if that's what you want to do as well. And then let's do before and after. Before and after. There we go. Yeah, it takes a lot of practice. It really, really does. And do you know what? I'm even looking at the image. Again, this is okay to do this. And I'm not liking the yellow that's in here. The yellow that I did for the highlight. Oh, is it? Where's the yellow that I did? Oh, see, I'm on the wrong background. Yellow in the highlight. I'm thinking that it might just, I'm not liking it too much. So I'm gonna just decrease and maybe do a bit of greens instead. It says I use Lightroom to edit my photos, but I like this interface better. See, this is what I'm talking about. I don't know if you guys were here at the beginning and somebody asked me a question like, why don't you use Lightroom? And I just said, I don't like how it looks. That is why I feel like Capture One is just so user-friendly. It is so simple. Like it's like idiot simple. I'm not calling myself an idiot, but like anybody can use it. And that's what I like. You can just start tapping around. And I haven't taken any classes for Capture One. Obviously, I've looked at some YouTube videos before, and oh yeah, I might brighten that up a little bit. I've watched some YouTube videos to help me along, but you can literally just start tapping around and find everything out, and that's what I love about it. Exactly, Toby. Capture One is industry standard. So a lot of the photo shoots that I've been on as a model, everyone is using Capture One. So Capture One is definitely, I wouldn't say it's the better one to start using, but I would say if you want to be a commercial photographer, and you want to be on big photography sets and clients to be saying, okay, we're going to shoot in this big studio, they are probably going to have Capture One over Lightroom, just because most people use it. And again, it is amazing. I don't know, maybe I'm biased because I use it, but I just love it.
I'm like, do I need to talk to the team and get you to be an ambassador for that?
I'm telling you, tell them. I love it. I absolutely, I'm not even getting paid by Capture One, and I'm like,
I know she is not getting paid, y'all. So listen,
yeah,
we're
I wish
gonna
I was.
we're gonna work on that though after this.
Exactly. I've just realized here with the mid-tones, I've just brought it down a little bit just to make it a bit warmer. And again, this is what I'm talking about. You can keep on going back and changing things. And I think that it kind of has a little filmic look as well. I really, really love this. Day, clicking around is how I learned to use Lightroom. Exactly. Just click around, have fun with it. And I'm going to have a look now. I think that I'm pretty much done with this. The only thing that I would probably do with this now is cropping, which again, like what I was saying to Tiana, oops, oh gosh, I'm showing you one of my other shoots, guys. This is Terrell. But yeah, it's about cropping. I will actually show you guys how I did that shoot as well, because that shoot did not look like that at all. The colors, the backdrop, everything was completely different. So with this image here, I'm just kind of seeing how I can crop in to make it look a little bit more interesting. So again, with crops, you can do whatever crops you want. I tend to do an 8x10 crop, just because that fits quite nicely into Instagram and also like magazines and things like that. But if you want to be a bit more creative, then you can do whatever crops that you want. So I'm cropping like this, and I'm thinking, it's quite nice, but like there's a little gap here from her afro, so maybe I'll crop in a little bit more. Again, there is literally no rules to crop. Not liking that. Maybe move it up a little bit. Yeah, this looks quite nice. Maybe I might crop up a little bit more. Yeah. And what I might do, again, what I was talking about before, in Photoshop, another thing that I love to use is, I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's Content Aware Tool. Sometimes it works amazingly, sometimes it doesn't. So you have to be really careful with that. But I use Content Aware Tool to widen my images. So for example, I've cut off her hair on this side here, and it's actually irritating me. And I want to bring that back in. I can use Content Aware Tool on Photoshop, and it will, it can extend the image to the right or to the left or wherever, and still keep the texture in the image. Sometimes for afro hair, it might not work. So what I would tend to do, because I love this image, but I want this side of her hair back, I would then probably go to this image. And can you see I've got this here? But you're saying to yourself, oh, does that mean that I have to do all of that color grading again? This is so annoying. No, I don't want to do that. No, you don't have to do that. This is the good thing about Capture One. All you have to do is click here. Hang on, I need to move this over. Click here, copy, and it will copy all of the adjustments that you've made except for the crop. So you click copy here, you go over to this image here, and boom. Sorry, I'm boom. But yeah, and it's gone completely over. See? So now I can even export this image here and just take out this side of her hair and add it here if I wanted to do that. So you don't have to go for all of that palaver again. And let's just say you want to just put it on all of the images as well. So let's just say all of them, I'm going to put this as a 5 because I love this image. All of the images from this shoot, you want them to all have the same color grade. So let me just go over. I'll start from maybe here. So this image is really beautiful, and I'm going to go all the way down to where, so you highlight all of them. So and then click, and then you just click apply, and then it just goes on all of the images like that. So simple, so easy. And then there you go. It's all the same preset on all of the images, which is really easy. So now let's just say this is the one that we started off with. Let's just say that you love this preset so much that you've created this, that you want to make it an actual preset so you can go back and use it again. So let me just, what I'm gonna put new variant. So just so that you guys can see. That was the before and after. Guys, that looks incredible, even with the crop actually. So let's just say that you want to make this one that we've just created a preset. What you do, you go up to this little thing. I don't even know what it is. It looks like a little bag with a tick. So let's just say we're in our bag right now. We are going to make this into a preset. So you have your custom styles here. These are all of my custom styles that I've created. This one actually looks really cute. All of them here. And again, can you see how some of these presets are not fitting this image at all? But does that mean that you can't use them? Hell no, you can still use them on the images. With presets, you have to tweak every single preset to fit the type of image that you've shot and the type of image and the type of lighting conditions as well. So I'll probably show that with this image as well in a second, but just to show you how to save this preset, you go to these three dots here, and then you go to save custom style. And then here, what you can do is it has all of the things that, do you want to save all of these things? So it has the brightness, the shadow, the white, black, lens correction, crop. So back in the day when I didn't realize what I was doing, when I was saving all of my presets, I kept crop on, which was the worst thing ever. Do not do that. When you're coming to this bit where you're saving the style, unclick crop, because the images are going to be, all of the images that you're going to be using with this in at a later date, they're all going to have different crops. So don't save the crop. And sometimes I'd even say don't save the white balance, but just for the sake of it, we'll keep the white balance in, because then you can just easily, if you're shooting raw, you can easily change that. So then you'll just click, hang on, is there a name? Yeah, no. So you'll click save. And then it will say what you want to call it. So I will say, what should I call it? I'll put ethereal blue. Oops, ethereal blue. And it will save in styles on your computer. You click save. Hopefully it's saved here. And it's right here, ethereal blue. Really, really easy. If you don't want it anymore, you can also right click. I'm using my pad, or you can use your thing, and then you just click delete, and then you don't have it anymore because you don't like it. There's a couple of styles here that I have that are doubles that I need to actually delete. But just for the sake of it, this is the original photo, and I am going to go on one of my already pre-made presets and try and see if I can make it work. So let's go on one that doesn't actually look that great and try and see if I can make it work. Let's see, commercial, that one looks crazy. Let's go for trademark brown. Hang on, where should I go? Yeah, let's try trademark brown. See, now, I don't think that this looks that great. And this is the thing with presets, because I know a lot of people like to buy presets and things like that. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with buying presets, but at the same time, you still need to do a lot of work when you're buying them. So that's why it's so important to just learn how to do it yourself. So as you can see, this pre-made preset that I use on other images is on this picture. It's made it very yellowy, very warm. So let's try and see if we can adjust this so that it works for this image. So we're going for more of a warmer vibe for this. So what I would do, let's have a look. Again, it's all about trial and error. So if we're going, let's have a look at the master. Okay, 3 ways. Let's have a look at the shadows. Like this. I'll probably bring the shadows up actually. That looks really beautiful. And bring the chat up. Do you shoot with, oh sorry, I'm just having a look at your messages, guys. Do you crop differently for Instagram? No, I don't. I crop however I want to crop because yeah, obviously, like, I mean, the 8, what I was saying about the 8x10, that crop fits perfectly for Instagram. So for example, you know, when you're shooting like this image here, I shot this with a 50 mil, no, 85 mil, and it's a very long image. That whole image isn't going to be able to fit on Instagram, although Instagram are saying that they're starting to introduce like longer images, which is great, but this wouldn't fit on Instagram. It will probably crop it in some weird way anyway. So I always crop before I try to crop before I put it into Instagram, because then also the quality of the image is so much higher as well. So Instagram doesn't have to compress your image, which will then make it blurry. So always crop before you're putting it into Instagram. That's what I will, sorry. That's what I always say. Elise, but this only works if the lighting is consistent. I'm guessing if you were talking about adding presets onto other images, and yes, if the lighting is similar, then adding a preset on top will just stick to it. It will look beautiful, it will look amazing. But because this lighting is completely different, that's when you're going to have to edit it to make it work for this image. Jade, do you shoot with presets? I shoot with my own presets. So I haven't bought any presets from anybody else. I've just created my own, and sometimes I reuse my presets just to make it easy, and other times I create new ones, like how I made this one of Tony. Yes, you need to get the latest capture. Polly will hook you up just like how she hooked me up. So girls, make sure you email Polly, and I'm sure she'll be able to help you. Tina, I have to jump, but could literally listen to you all day. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining in. Yeah, so do you tether? See, this is the thing. I haven't started tethering with Capture One yet. Tethering is the most amazing thing to do with Capture One. It enables you to just see your images as they are, as they will look, pop up on the screen. That's something that I actually need to start doing. But I know a lot of people do it. Jade, I know that you do it. But yeah, that's something that I have to actually start doing myself. So again, here I am just working on this image. I'm trying to make it look a little bit different. I think what I'm going to do is work on the white balance. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to work at pink. Again, you can just use whatever you want, work on whatever you want. So can you see I just messed that up there? Just click undo at the top here and it goes back. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit more green. The highlights, I'm going to bring the highlights down. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back over and work on the brightness a little bit. Bring it up a little bit here. I'm going to work with the whites. I'm going to bring the whites down. I'm going to bring the blacks down a bit. Work on the shadows. Work on the clarity. It's quite nice. See, and this is again, I've used my own preset. So with this now, I'm going to go into levels. Again, I don't usually, Jade, you can create presets while tethering and shoot with those presets 1,000,000%. That is one of the best things as well with tethering. As you're shooting and you've made that preset, every image that will pop up will keep on showing you the preset that you've already created. So none of them will look raw. It's absolutely awesome. So now I'm going to go on to levels. I said that I don't usually use levels, but just to show you what you can do with levels and how you can make things look a bit different. So this is, again, the highlights. It's making a bit moodier, I think I want to go a bit more moody. Again, this is the same image that we just created, And I love when the shadows are a bit more muted. Yeah, I really love that. I'm just using the RGB, so it's just working with all of the colors here. Lighting up the skin a little bit more. And then I'm going to go into curves. Let me know if I'm going too fast, guys. Going curves a bit, making it a bit warmer, a bit brighter. Right, let's see what this does. See how this changes it a little bit. Experiment, guys. Here we go. Again, guys, I am experimenting right now. This, I don't even know what I don't know if it's going to be great. I don't know if it's not going to. Just experiment. See, now I've just pulled this over this side. I didn't know what that was going to do, but guess what? I like it. So I'm going to keep it. So then now I'm going to try something. Again, we are trying something new. I'm going to work with vignetting. Vignetting, it can make it dark, it can make it really bright. Guys, guess what? I like when it's brightly vignetted. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit. And it's just added another tone that I really, really like. Remember, this is a preset that I've already created myself as a base, and I'm just working on top of that, right? So let's just see what the other one looks like. See, completely different style, completely different mood. And I still think both of them look really, really beautiful. Still, I could still even work on this a little bit more. Let me add, so I'm working on the right one. I'm gonna bring the blacks down a little bit. Bring the shadows up a little bit. And it just looks a bit more warmer. Bring the shadow, oh, you could do that. Brought the highlights up, so the background. There we go. I could add a bit more contrast. So just so you can see what the contrast does. Here, no contrast. Oh, I like it with little contrast actually. It's a bit softer. Actually, let's bring this in. Yeah, I might keep it at like that. Maybe work on a bit of the saturation. Bring the saturation in. There we go. Again, there is absolutely no rules. I'm going to go into skin tone. Remember what I was talking about before about skin tones? I think a skin tone looks a bit orangey here. So I'm going to try and like mess with it. There is also no particular order that you can do your grading, by the way. No particular order at all. I want to make her skin. Okay, there we go. There we go. A little bit brighter. Yeah, I really like this. Working with all the different toggles. To give a different mood to the image. Going to the basics. Going to use the reds this time. Going to go over to, yeah, going to go over to here. Lighten this up. There we go. And then what am I going to do next? I think I'm going to go over to yellows, bring the yellows up. Make the yellows a bit darker. Maybe bring the yellows down a little bit actually, because it's making the top. Again, guys, I just want to reiterate that if you want to specifically color certain areas, that's when using the layers will really, really help you there. I think this is the overall color for the image. Yeah, so this is like the master color for the image. So you can even do stuff like this as well, doing the master color over the whole image. Just desaturate it slightly. There we go. Two completely different vibes. Two completely different vibes of the same picture. And again, people like different ones. Some people might like the left one because it looks very fresh and poppy, whereas the right one, I feel like it just looks very like delicate and soft and natural, and it's not trying too hard, you know? Two completely different styles. Daniela, did you eye drop the skin tone before you started the adjustments? No, I didn't, because this one is a previous preset that I've used. So when you've used a previous preset, you can eye drop the skin if you want, or you can use the previous one. So that's the thing with using, so the one on the right is a previous preset that I am adjusting to fit this image, and the left is the one that I did from scratch. So when you're using another preset, you can either eye drop the skin tone of your current image or use what they've already put in that preset, but you can also eye drop. It's up to you. Again, there are 100% no rules. It just depends on what you want to achieve for the image. So yeah, I hope that this has helped for this image. I am going to go now. I feel like I've been talking forever, but I'm going to go over to, somebody asked, I can't remember who it was, about my image that I did with the stunning Tayo. So let me actually, what I might do is come in here. If you have any questions, if I went too fast, then please do let me know. Oh, before I start with Tayo, I just thought I'd show you this. This is Terrell. Terrell is another beautiful male model who I manage. He's stunning. He's from America. And this was our first shoot together. And again, this is the raw image. He looks stunning. He looks healthy. His skin is popping. You're thinking to yourself, what more do I need to do to this image? This image is done. Again, this is a creative shoot. So I thought to myself, I could make him look all chocolate and all Tyrese-esque and, you know, amazing. Awesome, right? Exactly. A feast for the eyes. That is Terrell, right? But I wanted to do something a little bit different. So what I ended up doing is doing this. It is completely different in terms of coloring to what he naturally looks like. Both are great. I could have worked with this and made it his actual skin color, but I wanted something to kind of make you go, wow, like there's something different. I worked on, it's almost quite desaturated, like it's kind of like, it's got bluey tones, it's got gray tones, it's got green tones, and it's got yellowy tones, and it's got red tones. And I wanted it to almost look like a black and white image that I've just kind of painted in color. And that's the kind of the energy that I wanted from this. That is completely the energy that I wanted from this. I didn't want it to look completely natural. It kind of gives me the feeling of, I don't know if you guys have seen like Moonlight, which is one of my favorite films. Moonlight, like beautiful. Again, with this, there isn't even really much to do with editing. What I like to do, again, I like people to look natural, but I like it to look polished. And this is what I did with the retouch. Again, not really much in it. I just cleaned up some of the little bumps, still kept in the, I'll zoom in on this one. Oops. Like I just cleaned up a little bit of the bumps. And that's, I kept in the texture though. This is a dodge and burn technique. It takes forever, but the results are incredible. And just again, highlighting where needs to be highlighted. He's got amazing skin. Like everything about him is pretty much perfect, to be fair. And yeah, there we go. That's what I'm saying. When you're looking at an image and you're thinking, oh, you know, maybe I don't, maybe I'll just leave it like that. No, experiment with blues in the shadows, experiment with blues as the highlights, experiment with greens as the highlights, experiment with different colors. And that's what's so exciting about color grading. This is another guy that I absolutely loved. I loved his freckles, I loved his like sexiness. I just thought he was just incredible, and I loved his ginger hair. He's on a brown backdrop, and I just wanted to bring out all of those browns. I did a color grade. That's what I did, and I just absolutely loved it. Exactly, freckles, amazing. And I don't know, do I have the edited picture here? No, I don't have the edited picture here. Let me go on my Instagram. This is how, where is he? This is how the edited picture came out. So I just made it a bit more darker, a bit more dreamy. And I'll come back here so you guys can see. That was the raw image. Oh no, that wasn't even the raw image. Damn, that was the raw image. This was the color graded. And this was the edited. I've just done it again. His skin was perfect. Dodge and burn, making it a bit darker, making the background darker as well, makes him stand off. And also the brown has also brought out the brown in his freckles as well. It's just, yeah, really, really love this shoot. Really, really love this portrait shoot. Okay, let's get to, oh, April, please, I saw color makeup. Oh, okay. Jade, I think you missed that at the beginning. So just for those who may have came in before, a bit later, Jade, I was just showing, this was a raw image. The image wasn't the greatest, but I loved her expression, loved her face. I then cropped in because I thought it was more interesting. The makeup is absolutely incredible. Her hair looks amazing. I then put a color grade on, bam, made it more bluey. It also brought out the colors. Again, with this image, I want to also say I used a lot of layering just to bring out the different shades and colors and bring out also the blues, and you just have to layer up, use the shadows, use the midtones, and that's how you get this glowy look for the skin. Because as you can see here, her skin isn't glowing in the same way as what it's glowing here, and that's all because of using the highlights and using the brightness and the darkness. Remember, color grading is about breaking apart the image and then bringing it back together and making it pop. After I did that, I then edited, and boom, that's how I edited. Cleaned up the skin, dodge and burn, added a little bit extra around the areas for the skin. And I also made her eye a little bit bigger because I noticed that one eye was slightly squinting, just so that the image looked a little bit more symmetrical. But yeah, that's what I did. This one was more of an intense retouch because I wanted that glamorous look. Again, just going over this. Really, really stunning. I very rarely shoot models with a lot of makeup, so this was quite a really fun, beautiful shoot for me. So sorry, I am waffling. Let me get back onto my mini viral shoot, which is the absolutely stunning Tayo. Like, he's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. This is the raw, this is the graded, this is the retouched. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into, oops, I'm going to go into my graded, and we're going to have a look at what I did here. So with this one, I obviously brought the exposure all the way up because this image was very dark. So as you can see, like as soon as you bring it up, you just see more, he's a bit more vibrant. But I also can you see how his skin is just looking a bit red, and it's just not looking, it's just not looking as impressive as what we want it to look. So you bring up the exposure, you add a bit of contrast, bring down the brightness. Let's have a look. So let me see if I can recreate this. So again, I'm just going by eye and what I think looks nice. Again, with the contrast, it adds a little bit of shade, and there we go. Bring up the brightness a bit, bringing down what with brightness, sorry, bring up the exposure. With brightness, I always, in my images, I always tend to bring the brightness down because I think it adds like a really nice muted effect to the image. It's not so punchy. Like obviously you can have punchy images, like if you want punchy areas, but I just like it looking very soft. And that's why I tend to bring the whites, the highlights, and the brightness down a bit, unless it's like super shaded. And I'm gonna bring up the, see where the highlights are. I'm gonna bring down the highlights, because can you see where it's like, where the light, again, this was shot in natural light, it's making it too bright over here and right down here near his torso, and then it makes the whole scene itself just look a bit unbalanced. So I'll bring down the highlights, and as you can see, it's making the backdrop already look one solid color, which I really like. So what I'll do, I'll probably bring down the shadows a little bit. And then how does this look? Yeah, and I'll bring down the whites. Bring up the blacks a little bit. Okay, and then we'll go to the 3 circles again, my favorite part. And again, I wanted to make this golden. I wanted to make this look very warm and inviting. Sorry, I am going back to the chat because I can see some people have said something. Would you retouch this? Sorry, Jade, what was that in response to? I'm only seeing this now. Javier, for the skin, did you use clarity? Yes, it's a bit of me. Are you talking about this? Sorry, guys, I wasn't looking at the chat. Javier, is it Javier? For the skin, are you talking about the beauty image? Oh, I see the final image now, right? Okay, cool. Sorry. Yes, you can use clarity for the skin again to make the skin look a bit more clear, a bit sharper, all of that stuff. I always put a little bit of clarity on the images. So again, we're going to skin tone. I always tend to do this if I'm doing this from scratch and I'm using the, oh, okay. Sorry, Jade. I just saw your message. We're going to the skin tone and I'm clicking where I want to click. So as you can see, he's got so many different colors in his skin. He's got like more of an orangey, yellowy. He's got like a really deep dark, kind of like a little bit like purpley, bluey. Then he's got like a rich red. So you just choose the colors that you kind of want. I think I'm going to go for this color right here. I'm gonna just, again, this is all about eyeballing it and seeing what it does. Sometimes it does stuff, sometimes. Oh yeah, can you see that? So here it's a bit more red, it's so subtle. And here it's a bit more golden. Can you see that in the skin? More red, more golden. You can even see it in his hand as well. If you look at his hand, it's gone red. And here it's gone a bit more golden. So I'm going to go for the golden. I think that looks really, really nice and healthy. So we're going to keep that. Exactly. Yeah, knowing the undertones are so important. And then I'm going to have a look at the saturation. I'm also going to bring it, oh, actually that looks quite nice, but that looks a bit dull. So I'm going to bring the saturation up, or am I going to bring it down? No, I'm going to bring the saturation up a little bit. And then again, I'm going to maybe bring the brightness up a little bit as well. Fabulous. Really, really fabulous. I really like that. And then basics. Let's have a look. Orange tones. Let's have a look at saturation. No, I'm not going to do that. I think we're going to bring it down a little bit, bring out the yellows a little bit. Yeah, definitely going to go more towards the yellows. Again, we want this image to be golden. I think, again, going back to what I was saying about the earlier Tony image, always have an idea or a feel that you have in mind when color grading. If you want him to look golden, if you want him to look super dark skin, if you want him to look, you know, really cold and blue, like I want him to look golden. So golden, gold is yellow. It's like it's warm. So always have that in mind if that's the look that you want to go for, and your image will turn out fabulously. Here we go. There we go. And I think that that looks really, really nice. So again, let's do it before and after so we can see. This is the after, this is the before. I've only tweaked it slightly. Can you, if you look at his chest goes from like this very rich red undertone to a more yellowy because we want to go golden. And the highlights in his skin, he's looking fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So let's go back to after. Then what I would do that now, I'll then go to color balance. Remember, this is the big wheel that we had from before. And I could go, let's have a look. Shall I do a master? Because we want him to be golden. Let's go for the yellows. Or the, oh no, hang on. Yeah, we're gonna go right here, I think. Yeah, this is quite nice. So we're doing a master. Again, we want him to be golden. And then shadows, I always like to go for blues. So I'm gonna go, let's see if this will work. Again, this is really punchy. This is going all the way to the other side. This is blue. Remember, you can just go all the way around and see what works for you. Let's see. Will the blue work or the green? Oh, actually, maybe I like green. Maybe I like blue. Let's have a look. You can make it a bit lower. Let's see. Yeah, it's quite nice actually. We go right round. I think maybe here. Let's have a look. Make it a bit darker, lighter. Guys, if you have any questions, please drop them in. Oh, that's actually quite nice. I'm gonna go with the yellow. If there's anything specific that you would like to know about Capture One and you want me to try and shed a light on, then let me know. Oh, the red's actually quite nice as well. You see how I'm going around and I'm just messing with them to see if they fit the image. I'm making it, yeah, see. Go back to the one. You see this is brighter, this is a bit darker, but it's kind of, yeah, see? And then I think I'm gonna do, yeah, midtones. Let's have a midtones. So I think I'm gonna go, and this is, remember, we want him to be golden. I was in and out, but did you mention whether you use the sharpening tool? So most images that are imported into Capture One, they're already sharpened. So you can, if you go here, there's always a little bit of sharpening. Let's see where it is. Oops. I think it's here. Where's the sharpening? It's somewhere right there. Where is it? Right, sharpening here. As you can see, there's a little bit of sharpening on it. So I just literally leave it as is. But if I want to add anything, it's usually I just use a bit of clarity. That's how I tend to like make it a little bit sharper. But I don't use a lot of it because it tends to make the image look a little bit animated, which I personally don't like. So we're on the midtones now and we're trying to make him look a bit more glowing. So what I would do, because we wanna impact these little highlights on his skin that make him look so dreamy. So this is no highlights, and this is a little bit. So we don't want it too high because again, I feel that it makes it look a little bit too harsh on the skin tone. So I'm gonna leave it like that. Again, midtones in the yellow. I'm trying to make him look a bit more dreamy. And with the highlights, I'm keeping it on red and I'm keeping it low because as you can see there, but I'm keeping it on red and I'm keeping it low and I'm building it up a little bit. There we go. I think this is It's fairly, oh, hang on. I think I added a bit of blue in this actually. Let me go back and see what I did to this. Ah, there we go. It's a bit of, yeah, bringing this up a little bit like that. Okay, I'll bring this over a little bit. And I think what I might have done with this, let's have a look at the shadows. Shadows are blue, green, yeah, and red. Okay. So move this round. So many different ways of retouching. As you can see from when I put it over here, it was actually really lovely as well. But even with this, so many different ways to make an image pop. Do you have a specific style to your images that you try to keep? With my images, I always try to make them warm. At the moment anyway, when I first started out color grading, my images were always cooler, but I think that was because the style of photography back then was more cooler. I think more like these days, a lot of photographers, they use more yellows and oranges and things like that in their images, just to make it look a bit more dreamy and like warm and just, I don't know. So that's kind of like my vibe at the moment, like yellows, oranges, browns, like very natural colors. But as you can see from the picture that I did before, depending on the image, I always try to kind of go with what the image is looking like. But I try to keep most of my images quite warm. Yeah. And then, do I have any examples of outdoor shots? I do indeed. I'll show you guys some images that I actually haven't retouched yet, that I shot in Cape Town. So this is going to be an exclusive. But yeah, I think it's slightly a little bit different to what I did before, but I actually quite like this as well. I'm going to try and add a bit more blue into this. You know what it is? I think I'm gonna change this slightly. What's that? Yeah. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to clarity and pump up the clarity slightly. And it's slightly a little bit different to what I did before, but yeah. Okay, I'll do a little before and after. So if you can see here, this has actually got a bit more reds in the skin tone actually, and a bit more blues and greens. This one's a bit more browns and warm and stuff. So I can even try and let me see if I can like pump up. Here you go. Where's your answer? Was did you get any grade? Oh yeah, again, this was shot on a very moody day. It was, yeah, I needed to pump that ISO up, but I actually loved the grain that it as you can see, I'm trying to like zoom right in, but it did actually produce grain, but it actually worked really nicely. The image was super sharp, so you can't even really see the grain too much, but it's kind of got a little bit of I don't see no grain. Yeah, it's like got a little, I think it's got a little bit, but because again, it's about your focus. I think your focus, the shutter speed, everything going in, it just goes with the image. Again, I'm glad that you actually said that, Jade, because people always, every time when people are talking about photography, it's like, you have to stick to ISO 100, you have to stick to ISO 400, otherwise blah blah blah, it's going to be awful, blah blah blah. No, just create. Sometimes, I'm not even gonna lie, sometimes I'm shooting and my ISO is way too high and it looks terrible and I'm like, why did I do that? But other times it works out amazingly and I'm like, do you know what, that's actually fine, just experiment. Sometimes just put a lot of grain in your images, go up to 800, go up to 1,000. It makes an image look incredible. Sometimes it really adds that, like that added je ne sais quoi. It just makes it look amazing. I don't even know how else to like explain it. There are no rules at all. to Javier, I hope that's how I pronounce your name. What camera do I use? So this camera, I was using Nikon D810. I have been a Nikon user since day dot. Nikon till I die. Yeah, I love Nikon. Nikon is really, really great. I'm currently trialing out Nikon's new mirrorless camera, which is what I used when I was in Cape Town. The Z62, I think it's pronounced. So I'm currently trying that. But this, again, Nikon 810, beautiful camera. I would be happy to stay with it. But oh, it's not. Okay. Thank you. Okay, is it Xavier then? Sorry. I over here like yeah, anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna call you Xavier or Javier. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, but I'm happy with this camera. If I was to keep this camera, I'll be very happy with it. The quality of the camera is amazing. The pixels are amazing. I think it's like megapixels. I think it might be 40 something. This particular lens I used, let's have a look. I can check here. See guys, I'm still trying to figure out this myself. I use a 51.1.4 for this particular image. 50, nifty 50 is my favorite. I pretty much shoot everything with my 50. Love shooting my portraits, actors headshots, beauty shots with the 50. There is a slight distortion, but I think everybody looks very slim and very like elongated and elegant, and really, really lovely with the 50. I really cannot go wrong with it. I absolutely love it. I've started using zoom lenses and 85, and I love those as well, but I always go for the 50 if I can, if I've got enough space. So I'm going to show you. I've been talking forever, guys, and I feel like I hope I've given you some help with Capture One. There are a few different things, little icons up here that I've started to use that is really, really good. Like there's this icon up here that I don't even know what it's called. Oh, there we go, Keystone Vertical. I use that for images when, for example, when maybe I've been at a wrong angle and their legs look a little bit shorter. I use this to just kind of make their legs look a little bit longer, and it's amazing. I really, really love it. I'm going to actually show you an example in a sec, but I will show you which one shall I show you? I'll show you these ones. Okay, so these are some images that I shot in Cape Town. I cannot wait to edit them. The models were absolutely incredible. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna have a tough time trying to choose these images. The light, if you have never been to Cape Town before, go, please go. It's giving it. Thank you so much. There are so many here. Yes. So, guys, let me just say, yeah, just incredible. See now, okay, let me show you this image, right? This image right here, can you see her legs are really elongated? Exactly, Toby. The UK could never. It is just, I wanted, so this particular image, I wanted her to look really exaggerated and really long and lean and just very powerful. America could never. America has some beautiful places too, you know. America has some beautiful. The UK is just dry. So yeah, this image. Let's go to new variant, guys. Look what I did. Look what I did. Look what I did. So the image itself, this is why I always shoot underexposed, right? Yes, Cape Town retreat and Black women photographers. Yes, that's what we need to be doing, Polly. I always shoot underexposed. And when you're looking in your camera, you'll probably be thinking, oh my gosh, I messed this up. What's going on? Why did I do this? But this is the perfect thing to do, right? The only reason why I say it's the perfect thing to do, you get the sky, so the sky isn't blown out. You get the highlights in the water. You get the highlights of the sun going down. Everything just looks stunning. And then you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, her face has gone. But no. The reason why, if your focus is on point, you'll be able to bring this back in Capture One. Because as you can see here, I was able to bring her face back. See that? To that. I also used the Keystone tool here to elongate. So as you can see here, right? What I usually do is just bring it in slightly and bring this in slightly. Click apply. And then we go. It makes her leg look much longer. And you come in. This is my little trick that I do. Then you go to the crop tool, crop in here. And when you press this, boop, her leg looks super long and Amazonian and powerful. And then obviously, just to make sure that the background is straight, you then go like this. Guys, I'm giving you too many gems. There we go. Boom. So it goes, yeah. So let me just reset this. So this, boop, and like that. There we go. That's my little gem. So basically how I was able to get her face back, it is, let's go back. Adjustment layer. Her face is gone. She is, if any of you have seen, what's it, Game of Thrones? Is it the man with no face or something like that? Or no name? Yeah, that was her. And I brought it back. And that's why, let's zoom in. Again, these are unedited images, so it's not perfect. But then once I bring it into Photoshop, there we go. No face. I will just, once I bring it into Photoshop, I will then sort out the colors in her skin and her face and then make it. So that's why adjustments, shooting underexposed, using adjustment layers when you're in Capture One, perfect. But yeah, this is, I'm not going to show you any more, guys, because I don't know if I'm going to be using all these pictures, but and I don't know what I'm going to be using them for. So this is yeah, let me go to something else. Oh, one thing that I will show you actually. Oh no, I'm not on the right one. I was gonna show you guys some actors headshots, but I'm in my model folder. But yeah, I think unless anybody has any specific questions, I think that's it. You know, I've talked myself to death, and I really hope that I've given you guys, you know, enough knowledge and help on how to color grade. There are so many different little toggles on this that are amazing. Oh, one thing that I will show you as well is if you're like, do you calibrate your screen often or at all? Nancy, I told you, I'm not a technical person. I really should calibrate my screen, but I actually don't. I just let my computer do its thing. That's one thing that I do need to work on. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just trying to figure it out like the rest of us. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm like, oops. And then I learn from it. And that is the thing about color grading. You have to just learn from it. You just have to. Nothing is going to be perfect this first time. You just work on it. This is another picture that I really love. This is the raw image. I put my trademark brown, which I use with everything. It's greens, blues, everything. And it turned into this, like, just gorgeous. Do you print your work? Do you know what? I haven't printed my work. I need to start doing that. Some of us girls over here in the UK, we've joined a little WhatsApp group actually, encouraging each other to, you know, enter into competitions and things like that. So that's something that I want to actually start doing this year, is printing my work, and it makes it feel a bit more real, a little bit more like art. obviously I've submitted my work to like magazines, and it's been printed, and I've had like front cover, well, one front cover last year, I think, or 2020, and that was amazing. So I've seen it in print, but I haven't printed it myself. But one thing that I really do want to do in the near future is do like exhibitions. I've got a couple of ideas of like exhibitions that I want to do. I'm just going to toggle through all the images back and forth so you can just see what they look like. Oh yeah, this was another image that blew up online, and I want to try and shoot with these two again. This was just a model test, and they're from the same agency, Georgia and Kane. Again, they're some of my favorite models, and I wasn't supposed to shoot them together actually. And I just put them together last minute because he was leaving, and I was just like, "Oh, come in," and I just put them together. They're a bit awkward, and I was teaching them how to pose, and this was COVID times as well, so I'm so glad like I made sure that everybody was safe, and like nobody had no COVID or nothing like that, and I put them together, and it just turned out to be such a stunning shot. This was the graded shot that I decided, and then this was the edited. Again, it is such a natural retouch. I hardly did anything, and I didn't realize how much of like a stir that it would have made online. It just, people absolutely loved it, and I'm just so annoyed that I didn't shoot more with them. I literally just shot this image and a couple others, and that's it. So I'm going to see if I can try and get them two together again. She's got the most amazing natural hair, and so is he. He's actually locked up his hair now, so he's got like locks, which is going to be really, really cool. So yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, let's see if there's anything.
Listen, you went above and beyond more than I could have asked. This was literally another master class. Sorry, I'm losing my voice, y'all. This is literally another master class. I'm just what and clearly we all need to go to Cape Town and just have a live session. A live shoot, a live editing. Like, clearly we need you to lead this trip. Thank you so much, April.
You are most welcome. I hope that I've been able to help you guys even just a little bit. Again,
a little bit. Just a little.
Again, it is all about eyeballing stuff. I don't have rules to things that I do. I just try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I do, as you can tell, I do take a long time with the first edit, the first grade, and then after that I just copy and apply, and then zoop, it's all done. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope I didn't bore you, and I hope my cheesy jokes weren't just embarrassing, but hey, I hope they made you laugh a little bit.
Listen, we love it. Yeah, so exactly, can never bore. For those again, like that was mentioned at the top, this was the Capture One training. Previously we did a Lightroom training, and then we also did a Photoshop training. So again, use what is your preference. If it's Capture One, if it's Lightroom, Photoshop, whatever. We've done color grading sessions for all 3 different softwares. I have a partnership with Capture One where you can receive a license if you watch our first 2 trainings. So reach out to me after you watch the 2 trainings that are on the YouTube channel. All there, all free 99. Learn, utilize, step up your game. And again, thank you so much, April. This was amazing.
I would just like to say before you end, Polly, thank you so much for having me. When I tell you this girl, she picked me out of obscurity. She was just like, hey, she did not know me. We have not ever met in person.
Yes, not yet. We will.
Not yet. When I come there, when you come here, that it's done. Yes. It's done. But when I tell you this wonderful woman has supported me in ways that I would have never imagined, and I appreciate you so much. I think being a creative is so difficult, and at times you always doubt yourself, and you're kind of just there like, oh, maybe not. Oh, and Polly's always there being my little cheerleader, and I appreciate you so much. The insight that she's given me, and the help and support that she's given me, and she doesn't know me, she doesn't have to. I think that's incredible, and what she's done for a lot of us Black women photographers, and she doesn't have to do any of this. She's taking time out of her day when she could be doing whatever. She could be Netflixing right now, and she's sitting here.
Wait, how do you know I have Netflix out? I gotta watch my reunion. I gotta watch my Selling Sunset reunion.
She's like, oh, April's rounding up. Let me get back on.
I'm like, this is why I really rush y'all.
Exactly, like, ugh. But no, but she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to be here. You know, she doesn't have to be doing any of this. And I just want to give you your flowers. And I always say thank you, but thank you so much for supporting me and giving me this kick. She's always telling me you're grading, and then she asked me, do you want to do a grading workshop? At first, I was thinking to myself, no, I don't want to do it. Like, I'm so nervous. What if I can't do anything that like helps other people? But she's always there pushing you out of your comfort zone. And if you don't take anything from this, it's just get out of your comfort zone, do things that scare you, do things that you sometimes don't even want to do, but you know that it would advance you. And this for me is just one stepping stone. This is my first workshop. This is my first
and that's insane to me. I'm like, I thought you've already done like a million workshops. So I was like, did we get lied to?
Girl, no, this is my first ever one. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's all I want to say. But thank you so much, Polly.
Thank you. Listen, let me not get all emotional. I'm already a Cancer. Thank you. Yes, give her flowers. Please follow April. Please tell her, slide into her DMs, tell her how much you love this. And thank you all so much for sticking around or replaying this later. So thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Be sure to follow me on Instagram by April Alexander. Thank you. And Polly as well. And we also need to get on Polly's neck because Polly needs to be getting some photography out there as well. Yeah, you scratch your head.
Okay.
I need to be seeing your portrait.
What was that? And Zoom, you and Elsie.
I got you. Thank you, guys.
I love you.
Bye.